table and throw a snowball and say, how can global warming be happening? I'm holding a snowball in my hand. And so if you see an editorial mocking it, chances are you're going to see the word global warming. Think about that carefully as you go through it. The word green has become politicized. I can go through the whole dimension. Avoid cataclysmic scenarios. Avoid the day after tomorrow. And employ events as leverage for change. Interesting surveys have showed that if someone has experienced a flood, a drought, a forest fire, extreme nature, they're more likely to believe climate change is real because it starts to pick at their just world theory. It starts to pick at the idea that the world is always a nice place. It has to turn on you, and I can get people more settings. Okay, what's the final stressful solution to come from this? So, for example, we should have a carbon price or a trading scheme. Well, you just asked for extremely intrusive government programs. You're asking to enlarge the role of government in our lives. If you can't see the hot button issue you're touching on there. And then we need it on a global scale. So who should do it? Well, maybe the United Nations should do it. And now we've really hit a hot button issue. And so that starts to become a problem. We have different conceptions of the value of nature. You know, is nature there for our benefit, or does it have an inherent value? That cleaves our society in some very interesting ways. Should we protect the Anwar? I'm guessing many people in this room might say yes. Will you ever go there? I'm willing to bet almost all of you would say no. You see value of it as being left alone. There are other people saying, that is nonsense. There's oil. We need oil. Drill the frickin' oil. Why would you leave it alone? And so that comes down to a debate over, should we leave nature alone for its own sake? Or is it always there for our benefit? And that can go down to a truth and genesis mandate. That's how we trust in the market. People who have a tremendous trust in the market to solve our problems typically don't believe climate change is real. What do you do about it? First of all, move beyond the negative. Too many people are focusing on, this is really bad, we got to do something to avoid the bad. The negative does not motivate people to act. There's too many environmental messages around the negative. There's an essay that came out a number of years ago called The Death of Environmentalism, saying that that's the problem with the environmental movement. It's always negative. And negative doesn't motivate people to reach beyond themselves. And they get in a very humorous way to try and get it to connect with you. What's one of the most inspirational speeches of all time? Was by Martin Luther King. It was not called I Have a Nightmare. It was called I Have a Dream. That motivates people to reach for something more. So can you envision a world addressing climate change that's a better world? Yes, I can. It can be one that preserves the American way of life. It can be one that allows greater freedom and mobility with shared driverless cars or green energy that doesn't create the pollution that we saw the cover of the New York Times today, that India is just getting covered in air pollution. Can you envision a better world? Because once you start framing this as purely sacrifice, people start shutting down. Okay? So that's what's on the table when you find yourself talking to that brother or sister, aunt or uncle, and they say climate change is not real. Don't look out the PowerPoint deck. Go to where they are. As an example, I'm in a golf league here. And what I love about it, we play in courses all around the area, and no one else is an academic. I'm the only one. And it's plumbers, electricians, and traveling salesmen. It's really, I enjoy that. And we never talk about work, ever. Until one day, I was in the league for 6 years. I'm sitting on the trunk of my car, and I'm lacing on my shoes, and this guy Greg is on the front of his car, and he's lacing on his shoes. He says, Andy, what do you do anyway? 6 years in the league. I said, well, I'm a professor. He says, what do you teach? Business and environmental issues. He goes, well, climate change is not real, is it? Now, what do you do? What do you do? I could start to give him a science lecture. I feel about this big. I could talk about the ways we live unsustainable lifestyles, knowing that he's very proud of that Hemi under the hood. And he's very proud of that big house with a manicured lawn. He's worked hard to get it. And this is symbol of success in our society, and he has earned it. I could talk about the political divide between Republicans and Democrats, and probably know he's a Republican, and that's not going to go well. So I say, there's a consensus within the scientific agencies, the National Academy says it's real. That's good enough for me. My answer. What's his next question? Andy, are you a Democrat or a Republican? So I say, well, I'm an independent. He says, what do you think of Al Gore? And I say what I say in the book. I think he called attention to the issue, but perceptions of him cause it to become a politically polarizing issue. So, conversation stopped. We played some golf. We talked about it more later. What was he doing when he was asking those questions? He's trying to figure out if he trusts me. He's trying to figure out if I'm part of his tribe. He's trying to figure out if I'm one of those environmental Nazis who's going to start to judge him. And I didn't. I stood my position, but in no way challenged his, and we could have a dialogue. And that's key here. You have to overcome trust. That's the challenge. People will listen to people they trust. Okay, let me wrap up, as I promised, with a story to drive the point home, and then I'll take your questions. So I left my meeting with my climate skeptic potential donor who never gave us money. I would add, by the way, birthday is not on Karl Marx's birthday. It's actually on Lenin's birthday. He had this communist mix up. That is a very old idea that Earth Day was a communist plot to destabilize America. But I did what academics do. I started to build a thread of papers to try and move in this direction. So I wrote my first paper in a journal called Organizational Dynamics. It's really just stretching my legs, taking what I know about culture theory, institutional theory, and applying it to the issue of climate change to start to pull the pieces together to lay a theoretical base to start my work. I'm sure you have never heard of the journal Organizational Dynamics, much less read it. It is just the beginning. I had 2 analogies in there that were really just throwaways, but I wanted to put them in because I like to use stories. I think stories are great ways to communicate issues. I think all of us as academics should be taught how to do storytelling. I think it's really what grabs people. Anyone who's a good speaker, they tell stories. And so the first one, Cigarettes and Human Health, I talked about what it took for us to go from a scientific consensus to a social consensus. And I talked about the cultural shift that came with that. If you think about it, what's fascinating about that debate, a lot of people say we can't do anything on climate change until we have that proverbial smoking gun on scientists say, absolutely, 100%, without question, this is happening. We still have that proverbial smoking gun on cigarettes. If you read the Surgeon General's report, it says statistically we'll show you how you can get cancer, epidemiologically we'll show you how it will happen, but quote unquote, in the end, it's a matter of judgment. I could do an experiment, ask you to all start smoking. Some of you will get cancer, some of you won't. I can't prove that cigarettes cause cancer. I can't prove that greenhouse gases cause climate change, but we still have a ban on cigarettes. We still have a social consensus cigarettes are bad for you. We can do that on climate change too. And the cultural shift before us to make that jump. If you look back at the writings of the Cato Institute, they're apoplectic. The government would actually do this to the tobacco industry. This is a major shift of just banning us, legitimate big is the cultural shift before us on climate change? And that's when I moved to my second analogy. It's as big as the abolition of slavery. And the point I made is that while you can't compare the emission of greenhouse gases to the cruelty of one race against the other, there are some interesting parallels. The abolitionists from the street corners of London said we have to abolish slavery, and people said, you're out of your mind. You're going to ruin our quality of life. The entire economy is based on it, and that is true. The economy of the British Isles depended on slavery. In the time of slavery, people did not raise a moral issue around it until the abolitionists started pointing out the slaves in the Bible. It's part of a moral order. Can you imagine a day where we will look at the emission of CO2 with even remotely the kind of moral overtones we look at slavery? I'll bet you can't. And that's how big the cultural issue is before us. The cultural shift is before us. This is a major change. So there were the throwaways. The paper came out. And then the New York Times picked it up. That abolition of slavery analogy. And then Scientific American picked it up. And Time Magazine picked it up. And I'm thinking this is cool. I'm a public intellectual. People are reading my work outside from this obscure journal into the pages of New York Times. And then someone sent me an email. And he said, I see Mark Morano taking this hit at you. I was new to this whole area. And I said, who's Mark Morano? And if you don't know, he used to work for Rush Limbaugh. He used to work for James Inhofe. And he has a webpage called climatedepot.com. And my friend said, I really think you better go look at this page. So I went to the page, and this is what I found. And so here's my picture. Here's Adolf Hitler's picture. And there's the entire coverage of the article. Climate skeptics are the moral equivalent of those who oppose slavery. And there's my email address. And so the emails start coming in, and this is what they look like. And not very nice, and not very friendly. And the bottom one is actually starting to get into the area of a threat. And it stunned me at first. I don't know how many of you have folders for hate mail. I now have one. It does come. And, as a social scientist, I was looking at what must I do this? I said, well, I should code it. And so that's what I started to do. And if you look, you'll see some underlying subtext to their questioning of science. First of all, the skeptical science and scientific elites. I'm a criminal. CO2 is plant food. Are you a moron? The days of milking the system of my phony science are numbered. I love this. You self-appointed overseers expect us peasants will take you and your fellow scientists seriously. You're a scientist. You're an elite. You live in the ivory tower. I don't trust you. A second frame, suspicion of my political ideology. I'm doing the work of Satan. I'm a green terrorist. I must be a secular evolutionist. If I believe in climate change, I must not believe in God. Rush Limbaugh devoted an entire episode of the show saying you cannot believe in God and climate change at the same time. They're mutually exclusive. I'm an eco-imperialist. I'm a racist. Fear of economic disaster. Why do I want to lower the standard of living? Why do I want to develop the world? Greetings, comrade. Why do you want Marxist destruction of civilization? This is the subtext in all those emails, because you can stop and ask, why would someone send emails like that, someone they don't know, over a scientific issue? Because for them, it is not a scientific issue. They are defending values that they hold dear from attack, and they don't want to give them up. That is the conversation over climate change in this country right now. And if we recognize that subtext, we can do something about it. If we don't recognize that subtext, we'll just continue to talk past each other. Thank you very much. So we got some upward momentum over here. If we want to modulate the upward momentum, then we have to do something about the environment. This is very nice, and thank you for the introduction. But the most important thing to know about me is that I have 12 grandchildren, and 4 children, and 1 wife. So now you know what's really important. Now let's go to the lecture, and in the next hour I will discuss to you something about quasi-periodic materials in a way that each and every one of you will understand. Even if you have students of law, you will understand my thoughts. Okay, so in order to understand what was happening, let me take you to the mid-80s. And in the mid-80s, there were 3 surprising discoveries of the structure of matter and its properties. They came year after year, and all 3 of them received the Nobel Prize in later years. First in order was the discovery of quasi-periodic materials, and the name of that is my name, Ian Lam, Denis Gracias, and John Kahn. I will tell you a little bit about these people later on. Next came the discovery of fullerenes by Henry Kroto and his colleagues. This is 1985, and the next one was the discovery of high-temperature superconductivity in 1986. Now, when high-temperature superconductivity was discovered, everybody was happy. Wow, instead of liquid helium, we can use liquid nitrogen. That's very good. When fullerenes were discovered, they model had some resistance. Henry Kroto
last year, wonderful person, told me that he had 6 papers published against his model. That resistance died very soon. But when quantum materials were discovered and announced, they met a lot of opposition from the top of the world scientific community, and this will be discussed this week later on. So this is the background. In order for everybody to understand my talk, I will start with very simple definition of order, periodicity, and rotational symmetry in crystals, and let's start with a two-dimensional model like this. Clearly you can see that there is order here. What does it mean, order for you? It means that if I ask you to continue it in each and every direction, you know exactly how to do that. This is order. You also notice that there is periodicity. The distance between this and this and this and so on is equal, so there is order here and periodicity. So there is periodicity in this direction, periodicity in this direction, this direction. Any direction you choose, there is periodicity, because it is a periodic structure. That's all about periodicity. Now, let's say something about it. Here is the picture. By the way, it's a picture of my hotel in Easter Island. Have you been to Easter Island? Ah, wow. So, you see that you see the ocean in the background, and this is also a periodic structure, one-dimensional periodic structure, but the motif is not just one atom or particle. The motif is not a little bit more complex, so this is the unit cell, from here to here. Large, large, small, small, large, large, tiny, small, large, and large. And it goes on and on and on. So the motif can be more complex than just one atom. Okay, that's another thing. Sometimes you can study very, very complex molecules by arranging them into a crystal. Once you arrange these complex molecules like the ribosome into a crystal, then you can study the position of each and every atom in the structure, usually by using modern synchrotron radiation. It's not an easy job, but it can be done. And this, the structure of this was discovered by Ada Yonath and his colleagues. She won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of the structure of ribosomes. So you can make a crystal from the ribosomes, and once you have a crystal, you can study the structure of the ribosome. And this is where crystallography is today. It became a magnificent science to study very complex structures such as biological structures. How about rotational symmetry? Well, here's the same thing with a little handle here. I can rotate it 90 degrees and it looks the same. 180 looks the same, 220, 270 looks the same, 360 looks the same, and because we can do it 4 times and every time it looks the same, it has a 4-fold rotational symmetry. Crystallography. You know, crystallography really started in the ancient times of the Greeks. They invented the term atom. They imagined a tiny little particle that cannot be split. Well, it can be, but they imagine it. And these atoms are arranged in a periodic way so as to create crystals. How did they know that? Because they had crystals with facets. And the ends between the facets were sometimes identical in different minerals. So they imagined that atoms are creating the facets and they were correct. By the way, if you think that ancient people knew a lot about science, this is not so. They understood very, very little about science. But in this case, they were right. However, up until 1912, there was no way to confirm that crystals are what people thought they were. But in 1912, German scientist Nemo Naue created the first X-ray diffraction experiment, and he started the science of modern crystallography by doing that. The drug, father and son, came a year later with the drug equation, and we had a science. And shortly thereafter, there was a growing group of crystallographers, and the tool of choice was X-ray diffraction. You can see here the chair. There is one more chair here. One person comes here. Okay. So, we had the science, the tool of choice was X-ray diffraction, and the science was called X-ray crystallography. The group that governs that science is the International Union of Crystallography, and their tool of choice was X-ray diffraction. Not electron diffraction, not neutron diffraction, X-ray diffraction. Why so? Well, because X-ray diffraction developed into a very precise tool to measure crystals. Very precise. Electron microscopy was not as precise at the time it is now. And so is neutron diffraction. Why am I saying that? You'll see later on. So this is crystallography. Now, here is a definition of a crystal before 1991, and the definition is very, very simple. A crystal is a solid composed of atoms arranged in a pattern periodic in 3 dimensions. Very, very simple. Here's another definition, Mark Masalski's book. Atoms in the crystals are arranged in a pattern that repeats itself in 3 dimensions throughout the interior of the crystal. Exactly the same, meaning different words. And life was simple. And the science of crystallography was a mature science. A mature science is a science that you believe that you know everything. Yes, you can discover new crystals, but the structures I know. So somebody announced that, hey, I discovered a structure of which a crystal with structure TO19, okay, TH12, and everybody said, this is wonderful, here's the drawer of TO19 structure, we have 1023. Crystals here, here's number 134, and welcome, and they close the door, and everything is fine. It was a mature science. People believe that we understand everything. you're far away. And this is why I enlarge it for you. And now you can. So, it says the following. We can make a crystal from molecules, which individually, every molecule can have a 5-fold rotation axis, but we should not expect the lattice to have a 5-fold rotation axis. Alright, why so? I will not spend time proving it to you, but there is a simple proof that in periodic crystals, in all crystals were periodic, in periodic crystals you cannot have a 5-fold rotation symmetry, much like trying to tile the floor with pentagon without GFC does not work. Okay, so here's an example of atom in diamond. This is a picture that I took very many years ago. Each atom, each white spot is a carbon atom in diamond, and you see that it is ordered, and you see that there is periodicity here, and there is periodicity in this direction, and in this direction, and in this direction, and in the direction it should. There is periodicity, it's a periodic person. The order of carbon atom in diamond is periodic. The allowed rotation symmetry of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5-fold rotation symmetry, as well as any other symmetry beyond 6 is forbidden in periodic person. It was true, it is true. Okay, no problem, up to here. Alright, now let's go to the reciprocal space. It's a space in which the diffraction pattern occurs. It's a space that we mathematicians have created in order for us to understand diffraction pattern. It's a space in which the diffraction pattern lives. And this is a planar cut through the reciprocal space, and this diffraction pattern is taken by an electron microscope. So what you do in an electron microscope is you make a sample very, very thin, and you have to know how to do that, and you shine an electron beam through the specimen. The electron beam goes through, and on its way it also diffracts sideways. So this is a transmitted beam, and many diffracted beams all around it. So here we have, this is the transmitted beam, and all the beams around it were diffracted from that crystal. And you have to put the crystal in set orientation, so it will diffract and give you a very nice diffraction pattern. Started here. Now this was taken from a periodic crystal. And when you take a diffraction pattern from a periodic crystal, the diffraction pattern itself is also periodic. And you see that it is a periodic pattern, and there is periodicity in this direction, and periodicity in this direction, and periodicity in every direction that you choose is periodicity. And the periodicity of diffraction pattern fits in the reciprocal space. Rotation symmetry allowed are again 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. No 5 rotation symmetry and nothing beyond 6-fold. It can happen, and the science was happy and mature. And now came a new definition of a crystal. And this new definition was made by the International Union of Crystallography, and I must tell you that the people that occupy those positions, the high position in the International Union of Crystallography, are hardcore mathematical crystallographers. These are no-nonsense people. I mean, you have to define everything from the foundation. Every word you say must be very accurate. And they came up with this new definition of a crystal, which sounds like a poem. I will read it to you slowly. You'll see it's a poem. Now, this poem was composed by the hardcore mathematical crystallographers of the International Union of Crystallography. What happened? Let's read it slowly. It doesn't say crystal is. We are humble now. By crystal we mean. By crystal we mean any solid having an essentially, not precisely, essentially, discrete diffraction diagram. And by aperiodic crystal we mean any crystal that is three-dimensional lattice periodicity can be considered to be F. Is this a soft definition or what? This is a crystal nowadays. And the crystal is not defined by the position of the atoms anymore. It is defined by the reciprocal space. A crystal is defined by the diffraction pattern. Something happened. What happened that we need this dramatic change, this shift of paradigm shift in crystallography. And what happened was 1982, that was the 70th birth of crystallography. Remember 1912 from Lauer? And 72, 70 years. And this was the year when the periodic crystal were discovered, and this is the subject of my talk. So now we can start. Let me take you back to my logbook. Lesson number 1 to the students among you. Whatever you do in the laboratory or on your computer, make a logbook. Write it down. You will remember your experiment next week, yes you will, but you will not remember it next year. And that may be very important. So, here is my logbook for it was not meant to be seen by anybody. This is like private writing for myself. This is why it looks not very ordered, but it has a lot of information. So let's see what it has. It has the date, April 8, 1982. Right, that's important. It has the composition of the alloy that I was studying, aluminum 25% manganese. Right? And it was relatively solidified. It doesn't say so because all the alloys that I was studying were relatively solidified. And this is the plate number in the microscope. Those days we took pictures on the glass plates. And then we took them in the box, in the dark, to a place where we did all the chemistry to make these plates sources of the pictures, and then we could print them. Nowadays it sounds crazy, right? I know that. So, and this is plate number 1720. There were many before and then after. This is book 1 of 5 books, by the way. And SAD selected area diffraction. This is afternoon of the day. I know because the previous page, you can see the shadow here, the previous page was was a totally different material, and this was the morning. So this is afternoon of this date, like 2 o'clock after lunch. Happy now. And so I took these pictures, and then I write a picture number 1724. 36 came in magnification. It's a picture with a magnification set 36,000 times. And I look at this picture, and I say, wow, that's interesting. Now I will show you what was interesting in that picture. And then I said, how does the diffraction pattern look like? So immediately I take a diffraction pattern, which is the next picture, 1725. I will show you these two. And I write here, tenfold rotation symmetry with 3 question marks. That's forbidden. How can it happen? So I spent the rest of the afternoon trying to understand what was going on. Let me tell you what was on my mind. I thought that I have a structure of twins, a twin structure. From my past experience, I found such twin structures with the very same diffraction symmetry. So I said, okay, these are twins. I spent the rest of that afternoon until the evening trying to find the twins. And I could not find them. There were no twins there. I knew from the afternoon of this date, April 8, 1982, that the structure I have has no twins. What was it? I didn't know. But twins it was not. Why am I emphasizing it? Because later on, opponents of particle periodicity claim, oh, these are twins in periodic structures, and they were all coefficients, of course, and they never saw them in the microscope, and I was an expert in microscopy, and we will discuss it later on. So, this is it. The Nobel Committee said that it's very rare that you can trace a discovery to a date and an hour. So, this was the picture of 1724. So this is what I said, what's going on. So what's different about it? Okay, this is a single crystal. It's a small crystal. This is half a micron, right? So the crystal is about half a micron to a micron in size, and now many of them is a polycrystalline material, okay? So what's strange about it? Well, what's strange about it is that some of the crystals are pitch black, like this, and this, and this, and this. And this is a bright field image using the central beam to take the pictures for those electron microscopy schematics. When you see a dark crystal like this, it means that it diffracts heavily. It diffracts so heavily that there is almost no intensity in the transmitted beam. And I have never seen in my life such a black crystal. So I say, how does the diffraction pattern look like? So I take the diffraction pattern from here, just from this single crystal, and this is what I see. I look at the diffraction pattern, I tell you exactly what happened during that minute when I observed it, I said, wow, that looks very different. What is the rotational symmetry? So I start to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. Impossible. 1, 2, 3. And then I write in my logbook tenfold with 3 question marks. Turns out it's 5-fold. But in order to do that, I had to take something that's called Kikuchi pattern, and I will not show you that one. So on the first observation it was tenfold, later on it was it is 5-fold. So what's strange about it is not only that it has a tenfold rotation symmetry, it has no periodicity. You take the distance from here to here, you multiply by 2, you get here. There is nothing there. No periodicity, tenfold rotation symmetry, very, very strange. Electron diffraction from the icosahedral phase has 5-fold rotation axis, and it is not periodic. So you can see here that there is no periodicity, and the ratios involved, this distance divided by this, brings you to Fibonacci number. Of course, you cannot do it by measuring. You cannot, by measuring, arrive in an irrational number. Just if you take 2 quantities that divide by each other, it will always be a rational number, and this is a irrational number. But close, you can get there. So this is the Fibonacci number, and I will tell you about this, the Fibonacci blockhead of Pisa in a few minutes, because he is such an important mathematician that we have to learn about it. This is general knowledge. Okay, so this is it, and this is the Fibonacci number, also known as the golden mean. Right? It's 1 plus 5 divided by 2, 1 plus 6, 1, 8, an endless number of digits, because it's an irrational number. Okay, so what is called the golden mean, by the way? People that claim that they understand in aesthetics never argue with people who claim that they understand aesthetics. You will never win. They claim that it has a pleasing ratio. Very pleasing to the eye. Why not 1.6, but must be Fibonacci number? Because people of aesthetics claim so. Okay, so if you take the distance from the nose to the belly button divided by then you arrive, if you are so beautiful and perfect, then you have this ratio. Fibonacci number figure, right? Alright, so, but this diffraction pattern was not the only one. This is the 5-fold. In the electron microscope you can tilt your specimen, and you can rotate your specimen to different positions, okay, in a goniometer. And this was a 5-fold, 2-fold, 5 again in this direction, and 5, 3, 3 in this direction. And this set of diffraction pattern is an icosahedral symmetry. I will talk about it in a moment. I'll tell you what an icosahedral is. And this is why we call it icosahedral phase. The first name of the first quantitative material was named the icosahedral phase because it has icosahedral symmetry. Okay, so to make a long story short, everything happened on that day 1982. I was at NIST for sabbatical when I made the discovery, and in the year from the end of 1981 to the end of 1983, I was there. I went back to the Technion. I still didn't know what I had, but I knew what I didn't have. In the Technion, I met the first person that was willing to work with me. His name is Ilan Blesh. He left the Techno shortly after, and now he's in California. And we sat together and wrote a paper. He developed a model that could explain the phenomenon that created these structures. The model was based on joining icosahedron space in such a way, arbitrary way seems to be, okay, entropy controlled, as we have an expert here. And once they join, they create these structures. We wrote the paper together, and now it is the summer of 1984. I came back to NIST, and National Institute of Solar Technology. I was there every summer, for 3 months every summer. So I came back a year after my sabbatical with the paper in my hand. Those days, when you send a paper for publication, you print it. In fact, those days, very few scientists could type. We had typing machines, you know. We had secretaries that typed for us. They typed my paper, I corrected it, they typed my paper again, I corrected it again, they typed it again, and finally it was good, and the last correction was about with a pen, that's okay. I sent it to Journal of Applied Physics, and a few weeks later, the paper came back, also in an envelope, stamped, my address was on it, with a letter. And the letter said, Dr. Shechtman, thank you so much for your contribution. We have decided not to send the paper for review, because we think that it will not interest the community of physics. Okay, so I took that paper and sent it to a metallurgical journal called Metallurgical Transactions. They accepted it, and they published it. But they published it more than half a year, just into 1985. In time, I was there at NIST, at the time it was called NDS, National Bureau of Standards. I showed the paper to my host, John Kahn, who invited me there, and I asked him, why do you think it was rejected? John Kahn came with the idea that we should do something completely different, publish a short publication without the Lagrange model and send it to a fast publication journal such as PRL, and this is what we did. He also invited a mathematical crystallographer from France, his name is Denis Gracias, and the three of us sat together and composed a paper. John Kahn knew how to put the right words. Denis Gracias added the language of mathematical crystallography, and we sent a paper for PRL, and it was accepted and published very, very quickly. So the second paper was published long before the first paper. So this is paper number 1, Shechtman and Blech, and this is paper number 2, Shechtman, Blech, Gracias, and John Kahn. It's only a 2-page paper. This was the first announcement that was published, and when this paper was published, hell broke loose. I started to receive emails, telephones, telegrams from all over the world. Danny, we have it, this is fantastic. I explained what I did. People repeated my experiments, and within 1 week, huge community could repeat my experiments, so we did the very same result, not surprisingly, and from that day on, a growing community of avant-garde, young, active scientists grew all over the scientific world, in the United States, but mainly in Europe and in the Far East. And this young community continues to be very active till today, and they took my discovery and turned it into a fantastic, fast-growing science of quasi-periodic material, and you have Sharon here and other people that do research on this subject very successful. So this was the second paper. It was published on November 12, 1984. Okay, so now let's go to the basics. What is the icosahedral symmetry? This is an icosahedron. It's a platonic structure, and many of quasi-periodic crystals have icosahedral symmetry, not all of them. There are quite a few other structures of quasi-periodic material, and this icosahedron has 6 5-fold extents. What does it mean? It means that if you put your eye here, exactly here, look down to the center, don't get too close. And then you see the 5-fold rotation symmetry here, and there is 5-fold here, and here, and here, and here, 6 of them. This is just negative of them, you don't count. 10 3-fold, so the way you look at it, you see 3-fold rotation symmetry, and 15 2-fold vectors, these icosahedron. And the angles between the 5-fold, the 2 5-fold, are exactly the angles between the 2 5-fold in the diffraction pattern and so on, and this is the icosahedral symmetry. Okay, so in other ways, let me show you another way to understand icosahedron, and let's look at the soccer ball. So this is a soccer ball. There's a soccer team here. Okay, are they very good? Let me promise you one thing. If you talk to your team of soccer ball players, you will discover something shocking. They do not know that they play with icosahedral symmetry. Okay. And football is my location, 6-fold and 5-fold, and this is the way it looks. So you look from here, clearly 5-fold symmetry, from this position 3-fold, 2-fold, 5-fold. Okay, now let's talk about quasi-periodicity. What is quasi-periodicity? And when we say quasi-periodicity, we have to go into the fundamental aspects. And the man in charge is Leonardo Fibonacci de Pisa. Pisa, you know, in Italy, where the inclined tower is. Everybody been to Pisa? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I see the older guys have been there, the younger guys will be there. Just by the way, for those of you who've been there, just behind the inclined tower of Pisa, by the way, all towers in Pisa are inclined, because I don't go to the reason why. But just behind it, 50 yards behind it, is a graveyard under a roof. And in that graveyard, there is a statue to honor Leonardo Fibonacci da Pisa. And I will show you that statue too. So this is a picture of Leonardo Fibonacci da Pisa, and this is a statue. This is a real picture of the statue that's standing just behind the house of Pisa. He was the greatest mathematician of the Middle Ages and many years after. So what is his contribution to quantum probability? To understand his contribution, then we have to go to his rabbit experiment. Okay, so Duncan experiment. You think about it. Okay, you're not that ready to do the experiment. So he said the following. Let's assume that there is one female rabbit in the first month. And she has a husband or a boyfriend, and he comes for a visit, and the next month he has a baby rabbit. Right? So every month, this happens every month, so every month she has another baby rabbit. And the baby rabbit has to mature 1 month before it can reproduce. So these are the rules. Right? Every month a baby, and it takes the baby to mature for 1 month before it can reproduce. Now you know the rule. It means a bit older. You can continue this. So in the third month, this mother gives birth to a little one, this one matures. In the fourth month, this mother, this one gives birth to a little one, this one matures, and this one gives birth to a little one. So now you know the rule, you can continue this forever. I stopped here because this was the end of the page. Okay, so why is it so interesting? Well, first of all, we have a large, small, large, small. There is no motif of any size that repeats itself periodically. No. So it's an ordered structure. So ordered that each one of you can continue this further. So this is the quantum periodicity in one dimension. Okay. But now that we are here, let's say a few more words about the Fibonacci field. This is the number of rabbits in each month. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. 1 plus 3 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. And this is this equation. Right? An equals a n minus 1 plus a n minus 2. 5 is 2 plus 3. This is what it says. What this equation says, that this is the Fibonacci number, this is how we get to it. If you continue this thing forever, infinity, and you take the two last number of rabbits, divide them by each other, then that ratio an divided by a minus 1 in infinity, you get the Fibonacci number tau, which is he published it in the book Liber Abaci book of Abacus, or book of mathematics. A word about this book. This book was not designed to tell us about quantum periodicity. It was designed for another purpose. Leonardo Fibonacci da Pisa tried to convince the merchants of Pisa not to use Roman numerals to make calculations. It is impossible. Use the Indo numerals that our merchants brought to Europe, and look how wonderful mathematics can be, how easy it is to do, and this is what the book is about. And there's a chapter there, and that chapter brought us to quantum periodicity. Okay. How about quantum periodicity in two dimensions? Roger Penrose is an eminent British scientist living in our time. He is a physicist, philosopher, amazing scientist. He came up with Penrose tiles. Penrose tiles are two tiles that if you put them together according to certain matching rules, you have to know how to do that. And this is why I marked it with arrows. You have to put one arrow with touching another arrow in the same direction. Once you do that, you arrive at a Penrose tile, and this Penrose tile can cover a two-dimensional surface with no gaps. And when you take a diffraction pattern from this, you'll arrive at something that looks exactly like what I discovered in quantum physics. And this is work that another scientist did. His name is Alan Mackay. Alan Mackay is also a British scientist, British philosopher, living in our time. He celebrated 90 years old a few days ago. He's an old guy, he's a shrewd guy, he's a wonderful scientist, and he has a sex sense of humor. I like it. So he took Penrose tile and put a dot in the center of his tile and gave it to his friend who had a laser, as those kind of lasers were things like that, not like that. And he said, make me an optical diffraction pattern of that. He did, and lo and behold, 5 quantum patterns similar to diffraction pattern, sharp horns, in the reciprocal space, so this is the connection. Okay. So it was in 2 dimensions. How about 3 dimensions? Well, 3 dimensions are quantum theory. This one taken by one of my students, and that's what it is. Enough of science, now stories. When I started to talk about Frank-Calder symmetry in crystals, people said to me, what do they teach you at the Technion? Don't you know it is impossible? I said, yes, I know. Let me give you an example. My group leader, don't come invited, my group leader came to my office one day, smiling sheepishly, putting a book on my desk called X-ray crystallography. And he said, Dr. Shechtman, please read this book, and you know that what they're talking about cannot be. And I said to him, I know this book. I don't have to read it. I teach at the Technion. I know this book. I'm telling you, my crystal is not in the book. Took the book back, came back a few days later, and he says, Dr. Shechtman, you are a disgrace to my book. I cannot have my name associated with your name. Please read my book. Silence? Silence. It was not so terrible, because all it meant was that I had to find another group leader that would adopt the scientific order fine. I didn't have to leave my office or my laboratory. Everything was the same, but instead of reporting to his secretary, I reported to his secretary. Life went on. Okay. So this started the years of rejection. Some people supported. John Hahn, the most powerful support, but many others. And I told you there's a growing group of young scientists, and the group was growing fast, but the opponents were by far a larger number of them. And in the first period, I felt very uncomfortable because of all this rejection. And if you want to imagine how I felt, it was something like that, and it is between the years before I passed the examination, and it's something like that. It was heavy and sort of not easy walking. Then, I published like before, until 1987, by now, there was a growing group of supporters, but the major opponent was the International University Fellowship. They said, everything is nice and dandy, but we don't believe in that electron microscopy. That's what the other side. You bring us X-ray diffraction patterns, then we can talk. We did not have stable quasi-periodic crystals at that time that we could grow to create X-ray diffraction patterns. Nowadays we have microbeams that can do it on small crystals.